wouldn't ask why the rose that grew from the concrete had damaged petals. On the contrary, we would all celebrate its tenacity. We would all love its will to reach the sun. Well, we are the roses. This is the concrete. These are my damaged petals. Don't ask me why. Ask me how.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Dignified TW, and we are back with another video, guys. Today, heavily requested, we've got a Derrick Rose type build. You can see it's a two-way slashing playmaker. Now, I know right off the bat, a lot of you guys are going to be thinking, you know, Derrick Rose is a playmaking slasher, you know, Hall of Fame slasher badges and all that good stuff. But guys, the gold slasher badges this year are very overpowered, and even with this build, I'm not only getting like 5 or 6 slasher badges, I'm getting a lot of slasher badges. If you guys want to see this build, make sure you like the video. I've got a ton of stuff I can do with it, and it's honestly a lot of fun because I have not played on a build with 99 speed and acceleration. If you throw Hall of Fame or gold downhill on this build, the build is insanely fast. But you guys know how I like doing these NBA player videos. I like talking about the build, I like talking about the NBA player, kind of going a little bit of a flashback in the NBA during the time where the league was pretty fun to watch. There's some good teams, and of course Derrick Rose, when he got drafted, winning Rookie of the Year, a couple years later winning MVP and being the youngest MVP in the whole entire league. It's just very fun. It's very cool to look back on, watch some of his highlights and all that good stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and talk a little bit more about the build. Now, when I say this two-way slashing playmaker does it all, guys, it really does. And like I said, it only doesn't get a few of the finishing badges or a few playmaking or a few defense, guys. It gets a lot in each category. And the build is insanely fun. Like I said, the 99 speed is something you can't mess with on a slasher. And transition, even dribbling the ball, is very noticeable. And it's a ton of fun, like I said, to play on. I get slashing takeover, so I'm actually able to dunk a lot. You can see the vertical is actually really good on the build as well. I will drop this full build if you guys want to see it, like I said. So make sure you drop a like. Let me know if you want to see it, because like I said, the build is insane. It has a ton of badges the way I made it. And it catches bodies and can finish around the rim just like a regular slasher. But let's talk a little bit about prime Derrick Rose. Like I said, the Bulls, after they, you know, Michael Jordan era, they didn't have a lot of good seasons. They had some seasons where they were in like the teens and wins, and that was not just like 1 or 2 times. It was a stretch of like 3 or 4 years. Now, before Derrick Rose, the team wasn't that bad. They had a couple good years where they were like 41-41, and then Derrick Rose came on. Like I said, he didn't right away make a huge dramatic impact like a LeBron kind of type did, but he made a huge impact within the city. The kid was born in Chicago. He was drafted #1 overall by Chicago, so the team could stand behind him. You can see we're greening that shot right there, all 21 points. The team could stand behind this guy. He played with so much heart, and he had so much hustle. If you guys watch his highlights, you know how much energy he had. And if you guys know anything about the Chicago fan base, they could get behind that dramatically. Now, I will recommend as well, go watch Derrick Rose's documentary. Derrick Rose had a very interesting life. Of course, he's kind of a meme when it comes to injuries. I won't say that he's a bad player. Of course, he's having a great year this year, and I really do respect his game. I really do respect how much resurgence he had, how he had the willingness to not give up and come back into the league. But a lot of people on, you know, NBA Twitter, for some sort of reason, kind of make fun of how he's always injured and how his knees are just like glass, and they have that SpongeBob meme and all that kind of stuff like that. But I give this guy a ton of respect to how much heart he has and how much he actually loves the game of basketball. Now, we'll take a look to after the injury of Derrick Rose. You guys know he got hurt playing kind of reckless, which he would even admit he was playing reckless, and it was only due time until he got hurt, to be honest with you. He got injured on a play where he did a hop step inside of the paint where he didn't really need to, and I do believe the score to that game was already pretty much out the window. They were up by a lot at that point, so he really didn't even have to do that move. He came down weird, and then he hurt his knee. And after that, you know, when you're an explosive player like that, guys, you might think, oh, you need to come back. You might have to change your game a little bit. But when you're in a, you know, the kind of player that Derrick Rose is, when he's been playing with so much energy, dunking the basketball, that kind of stuff like that, you're really more likely to hurt yourself if you try to play a different way, or you try not to put in 100% like you were before. That's kind of how you get those injuries again. So Derrick Rose, you know, he came back. He had some decent years with Chicago. Nothing insane, of course. You know, after an injury like that, you really can't expect the same kind of player to come back. And it talked a little bit about this in his documentary where he got traded to the Knicks, guys, and he even said to like his agent, it caught him off guard. Like he didn't know he was getting traded. He cried and all that kind of stuff like that. Like he was a Chicago-born kid, you know what I'm saying? So like the Bulls loved the guy. He loved playing for the Bulls, but it just wasn't working out because when you saw when he came back from his injury, he just wasn't the same player. He went to the Knicks, had some decent years with the Knicks, nothing crazy. I think he had like a couple 17 points a game seasons, which wasn't not bad at all. That's a solid, you know, point guard. And then he went to Cleveland. Now, this is where it got interesting. He actually had a part, you guys probably remember, he had a point in his career where he just disappeared. The Cavaliers did not know where Derrick Rose was. You know, you got to think about it, guys. When you're coming back from an MVP type player, a player that's taking over the league, easily the best point guard in the league at the time, and you come back and you have to, you know, deal with injuries. He got hurt a few more times. You're coming off the bench. You're getting traded, all that kind of stuff like that. You're not the happiest. You're going to go through some depression, which I totally understand. And, you know, Derrick Rose was definitely going through it. And I gave so much respect to the guy because it's been like almost a year now that he came back and he dropped 50 points on the Jazz, man. That's a remarkable game as well. Go watch the highlights of that game. You might even be able to watch the full game. He's come back. He's made it full circle now. And he is having a good year with the Pistons, which is really cool to see. So, again, this is going to be another gameplay right here. We'll go talk a little bit more about the build. This build, guys, catches bodies. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to be thinking the build doesn't have like a 90 driving dunk right now, but the build catches bodies. It can dunk a lot of the times if you're open for the dunk. I know kind of 2K kind of messed with dunks this year, but if you're open for the dunk, guys, you're going to be able to dunk the basketball. Now, look how fast I am, guys. I don't know if you could tell, but when I got that steal, ran up the court, nobody was inside. I got blocked because they got a terrible, you know, alley-oop animation, but nobody was inside right there. Like, it's the acceleration and speed, guys. You know, Derrick Rose had a lot of speed. It's a perfect build for D Rose, and it can actually play defense, you know, get in the passing lanes, play great on-ball defense, and still be effective on the offensive end. You can see right here, games 4-4, Hubsy gets a great block right here. I'm going to throw it to P. They both go on him, and look at this alley-oop, man. That's just pure vertical, you know, athleticism, going up, grabbing it with two hands, and reversing it, guys. This build is super athletic, super fun to play on. So you can see 6-4 game right now. We leave him wide open for three. It's whatever. But Hubsy gets the rebound, and we're going the other way. Now, I could have thrown up to Peter, but I wanted to get a dunk animation. But we've got Curry layups on this build, guys. The build with acrobat and fancy footwork and pro touch on a build like this, it's super effective. You don't really miss too many layups when you have a build like this, guys, because like I said, the build gets more than just like 4 or 5 finishing badges. It gets a good amount, so you can actually allocate the badge, like the badge progress is the way that you want to, and still be effective with finishing. So you can see 6-10 now. Hubsy basically just sitting in the paint, but for some reason he makes that because 2K is a really good game. But we get takeover, and now this is when the build becomes super overpowered. You can see nice little momentum. Slithery finisher allows me to go block by him very easily. The center's just sitting in the paint trying to get a block, and we're throwing it down on his dome. If you want to sit in the paint, I'm going to dunk on you. And the build has really good pass accuracy, so it can dot people every single time and get your teammates open if they're open. You can get Zymer on this build and still have good finishing and playmaking badges. Like I said, you have so many badges, so this build can do so many different things. So you see we're on the ISO game now. Quick behind the back again, going by 2 defenders. The guy just sits in the paint. I told Hubsy to go sit low block, and we're getting another contact dunk. Now this build gets a lot of dunks, like I said. So you're fast, you can play defense, and you can dunk. So it can pretty much do everything. You see a nice little size up right there. I told Hubsy to go back on the block, and we're catching more bodies. This guy was trying to, you know, a lot of centers just like to sit in the paint and try to spam square and spam triangle, but you got to time it perfectly this year. If you can time it, you're going to get a lot of contact dunks, especially with slasher takeover. So you can see he goes right towards the rim. Hubsy's there to get it. We're going coast to coast again. Catch another body, man. You sit in the paint, downhill, it makes your acceleration so fast, and we're there to get another contact dunk finish, man. If you guys like to see this build more often, I want to get it to 99 overall, but if you like the build and you want to see it, man, let's get 1,000 likes, and I will drop it as soon as possible. You can see 18-8. We just went on that huge run. Just, you know, it was a pretty close game for the most part, but then when we got takeover, we went on I think it was like a 10-0 run, and we're just able to dominate. So you can see right here, I'm trying to ISO right here. He thinks I'm going to shoot it, give him the hezzy step back crossover. I'm tired, throw it out to Hubsy, wide open in the corner. He misses it, no big deal. We're going the other way. When you have a good defender as a center, center, and then you have a good on-ball defender that can actually score, it's very hard to beat. So you can see we're going the other way. I try to do a floater because, you know, Derrick Rose had a nice little floater game, but it give us a pull-up, and we end up missing that. He hits a nice little contested layup, I guess not contested, and they get it back within 8. But we're going to end it right here, guys. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you drop a like. Let me know your favorite D-Rose moment that he ever had. But guys, it's been your boy Dignify. We miss a layup, but we get our own rebound, kick it back out to Hubsy. It's been your boy Dignify, and we're out. Peace.